TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
The Waco History Podcast is sponsored by Brotherwell Brewery on historic Bridge Street in Waco.
Welcome to the Waco History Podcast. We're going to air for you over the next few months a special series of Waco History Living Stories. These were segments that were originally aired on KWBU here in Waco. They were produced by the Institute for Oral History editor, Michelle Holland, and narrated by two fabulous narrators, Louis Maze and Kim Patterson. And so these highlight oral histories from the collection of the Institute for Oral History at Baylor University, which I direct, which has been around since 1970 and has over 1,000 interviews related to Waco and McLennan County history. And we're happy to highlight those here.
Cross the Brazos at Waco, ride hard, and I'll make it by dawn.
On this Living Stories vignette, we take a listen to stories from Paul Quinn College around 1940. Paul Quinn was a fixture on the educational scene of Waco for over 100 years.
Then the night came alive.
This is Living Stories featuring voices from the collections of the Baylor University Institute for Oral History. I'm Kim Patterson. Dr. Stanley E. Rutland served as president of Paul Quinn College from 1969 through 1976. Under his leadership, the college enjoyed many improvements, among them accreditation for the first time with the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools in 1972. Dr. Norman G. Ashford describes the climate of Paul Quinn in 1971 when he came on board as a biology professor.
I remember well one time where we had a meeting in the evening where we were going over the accreditation procedures and the required reports, etc. Where we started meeting, I believe it was at 7 o'clock in the evening, and that meeting lasted till 2 o'clock in the morning. So it gives you an idea of the events taking place.
Dr. Rowena Cates explains she was working as a cataloger in the Paul Quinn Library when Rutland enlisted her help in getting the college accredited.
He walked down there and walked in that back door and said, "Miss Cates, I am making you head librarian. I've checked your transcript, and what I want you to do is go back." I didn't have my master's degree then. I think I like 9 hours of having it. He said, "I'm making you head librarian here." And I said, "No, you didn't either." I got my things and went home. When I got home, my husband said to me, he said, "What are you doing when you bring all these?" I said, "Shoot, I've had 25 years of teaching that man come telling me he's making me head librarian. I'm not going to do it." He didn't say a word, but he looked at me and he continued. We were having dinner, and he said, "Well, can you do it?" I said, "Yes, I can do it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to sit down and draw my teacher retirement when I get older." He said, "I believe if I were you and those old people paid 10 cents a brick to build some of those buildings there when they were built, and you can do just that little bit of thing, and you don't want to do it. If I were you, I believe I'd go do it." I didn't do a thing but get all my things, put them back in my car, and come back over to Paul Quinn and sit down.
Although reluctant at first, Cates took over the task at hand with gusto.
When the team came in, they had no problem whatever with the library. The library was in tip-top shape.
I see.
But I tell you, Dr. Rutland was a man that if you would work with him, he was a learned man. I dare say he is one of the best presidents I've ever seen, because he went to each department to find out what was needed, what was lacking. And if they had to have money, he went somewhere and got it. The people here in Waco didn't like him too much at first, because they said he stayed on the plane too much going places. But when he went those places, he brought something back with him.
I see.
And he was able to see, and he knew how to meet the needs of Paul Quinn College, and he did it.
Paul Quinn College left Waco in 1990 and moved into the former Bishop College campus in Dallas. In 2009, SACS revoked Paul Quinn's accreditation, but 2 years later, the college attained membership with another accrediting agency, Transnational Association of Christian Colleges and Schools. For program transcripts or more information about the Institute for Oral History, visit baylor.edu/livingstories.
Ride hard and I'll make it by dawn.
Thanks for listening to the Waco History Podcast. Like what you heard? Subscribe, rate, and review our show on iTunes so we can reach more listeners. You can find show notes and info on every episode at wacohistorypodcast.com and more info on Waco's past at wacohistory.org. Our theme music, used with permission, is Cross the Brazos at Waco, performed by the late Billy Walker. For more info on Billy's music, go to billywalker.com. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
When I reach San Antonio.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.